Hello everyone, welcome to our 6.86 patch analysis. I'm Xeonus and today I'm joined by Rain. Hello Rain.
Hello.
I'm very excited. Together with Rain we are actually looking now at the newest patch 6.86, which included a massive amount of changes. And I think it's a good point if we start with the brand new hero Arc Warden. So, Rain, what do you think about this new hero? What will be his role and overall role in the game?
It seems Valve have released him as a carry type hero, and I've seen in obviously many pubs as him being played as a carry, building things like Necrobooks, double mid-as, things like that. I've even seen Sing Sing build him with Octarink or Radiant, sort of building him like a Naga. But I think he tends to have more success as a support. I've seen him play as a support many times, and his Q's really good at zoning offlaners because it gets muted if the enemy hero's near allies, which means if you're against a solo offlaner, it's not going to get muted. It's going to take the full damage. He's going to get slowed. It's actually really, really strong, and I think the 100 evasion buff in the AoE is actually really strong as well.
Yeah, also if I look at these skills, it's really like an AoE hero that excels at locking down enemies and giving support to others, for example with magnetic field, right? Then attack damage is increased, etc. So it's interesting that so far people actually played him a lot as mid, right?
Yeah, it's because I assume he's got a good agility gain, and that's probably what innates him to be a good carry. But looking at his skill set, he doesn't have any skills or passives that actually help him carry, such as you've got Drow Ranger. Her ultimate, for example, is her carrying ability along with her third skill. But this hero is more like a caster at the moment with carrying abilities, which is fine. I mean, if this hero gets 5 or 6 slotted, then he probably does have the potential to carry a game. But I think earlier on, his skill set is very much useful for being a support.
So at which position would you play him then, preferably? Like at high pop games, like whatever, let's say in the 4K to 5K region.
If I would not pick this hero yet, because I don't think he's particularly good in the meta. However, if I randomed him, for example, I would probably play him support, because I think his skill set is so good for shutting down an offlaner. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it would benefit your team a lot harder if you destroy the enemy mid laner and let someone pick another carry, because I think the 100% evasion that you can put in an area is really strong as well.
So which hero would you think would actually synergize well with Arc Warden?
Any squishy agility carry that doesn't have either an escape mechanism or a mechanism that gives them sustainability in its aim fight, I would say.
Okay. Very nice. So it will be interesting to see what the community will make of this hero, also when future guides will be released, etc. When pros adapt to Arc Warden.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Definitely an interesting hero, right? Yep. So we will see how he will transition, how his role will evolve throughout the game. Alright, so obviously this was one of the biggest changes, also including a new Arcana for Zeus, but that's something we will put aside for now. So now I will actually here jump into the patch notes and we will check out the most important parts of the overall patch 6.86. Alright, where do you want to start? Rain, what do you think
Alchemist is probably a good way to go.
Okay, let's see if I can actually look for something here. No, I can't. Let's see, let's go down. Where do we have him? Alright. So, what do we see here? Grieval's Greed, Bounty Rune, Multiplier rescaled from 5 to 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright. I cannot make much of it.
It's actually a good change, because the bounty rune multiplier basically meant that he had ×5 before, which meant he would get 500 starting gold if you got the rune. Yeah. Now, if you put 1 level in it, you only get 300 because the multiplier is 3.
Okay, yeah, I don't play much, so that's actually good.
But it makes him it makes Grieval's Greed a much stronger skill in the late game.
Yeah. So it's more balanced now, in your opinion?
I'd say it's more balanced. Yeah.
Okay.
Change. But he makes him a better late game option actually, because of the ×6.
Yeah, I remember that in 6.85 people were kind of tired of Alchemist, right?
Yep.
So do you think this will enable the meta a bit
I think it'll still
towards him?
I think he'll still be picked because of
Yeah.
that times 6, but he won't be as strong in the early game. You might see slower radiances, slower solar crests, or
Yeah.
whatever route you tend to take with him, but he will still be a big force in the late game if it goes there. Definitely.
Okay. And the second change, you already mentioned it, the fixed Grievous Greed granting full gold during buyback gold penalty phase.
Yeah, that's a change that's really weird, and I'm really surprised I didn't fix that a lot earlier. I didn't actually know that
Yeah,
happened.
it sounds like a bug, right?
Yeah, that's very bad.
Yeah.
But it's good it's not gone. It's not there
Yeah,
anymore.
would be rather biased to get even more gold as Alchemist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, let's see, wrap it up. So for Alchemist, we have a more balanced hero now, but still probably people will pick him as much as they did already, right? So
Yeah, I think he'll be quite picked.
okay, then what do you think is another highlight of the patch concerning heroes?
Concerning heroes, I think the next one going down. I mean, we thought we were going to get a bigger Bane nerf because he seems to be picked a lot in the pro scene, and
Yeah.
but they've only nerfed his movement speed. I don't think that's going to be a big enough change for pros to still pick him. But I think Bane was really picked as a solution to the dual lane mids.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's a very strong force to have if, say, you want to protect a Shadow Fiend and secure him farm. So he's not really nerfed that much.
Yeah, it's a small change, right? Otherwise, he's been a balanced hero for quite a while, right?
Yep, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Bat Rider's change is actually really cool. Actually, he has a base HP regeneration from 0.25 to 2, which means
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a
that is
lot.
a big change.
That's
His
a big
offlane,
change. Yeah.
his offlaning is going to be a lot easier because people stop playing Bat Rider offlane
Yeah.
because
And the
Tri
mana
lanes
cost
and
is reduced
dual
of Flame Break. That's really nice.
yeah, that is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very nice buff to Bat Rider,
Yeah,
but I
totally.
don't think they wanted to go over the top with it because his Ag's ultimate is probably something pros are already looking at, and they're just looking where to lane him, to be honest, because I think he's already strong enough as a team fight hero.
Am I correct that he wasn't picked that much on the majors, right?
No, he wasn't. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of where do you lane him? I mean, you could put
Exactly.
him mid, but then you don't get the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, so maybe this will enable also pros to play much more. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Alright, next, do you want to talk about Beastmaster? What do you think about these changes?
Not too massive by the looks of it. The Wild Axis no longer has a unit targeting, which means it's a
Yeah.
bit harder to land,
Yeah.
obviously. And
And the
of War
cooldown
call
of
scouts
Call of the
instead.
Wild. Yeah.
I mean, actually, it's not bad. Earlier on, I think it's a bit of a nerf actually, but I don't think it's that big. To be
It's not
honest.
that massive. Yeah, also if I look at this, not that massive at all.
No.
Yeah. Alright, what do we have next? Yeah, Bloodseeker. Nothing special here. Blood Rite cooldown rescaled.
Yeah, people have stopped playing that hero really at the moment.
Yeah. That's good, right?
Yeah, it's
He
good.
was annoying.
Definitely
Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker. Alright. Then, next up, Bounty Hunter. So,
Let's see what they've done here. So the Janada and
movement
movements.
and attack speed reduced. A reduction increased from 25% to blah blah blah. 25 to 31.
That's actually pretty good. It's definitely good for ganking.
Yeah, so it's a small buff for ganking, I think so as well, if I read this now here. Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot for Brewmaster.
Yeah, yeah. So let's check it out. So Drunken Haze cooldown was reduced. Primal Splits dispelled magic damage to summons increased. Primal Splits dispelled magic cooldown reduced, and Primal Splits Wind Talk cooldown reduced. So overall cooldown for all his 3 elemental sub heroes have been reduced, right? So that's kind of
Yeah.
a buff overall for his
It's a ni-
ultimate.
It's a nice change, I think, because obviously the go-to anti-carry at the moment really is one of them's Razor, obviously. And
Yeah.
It seems that a lot of the time in the pro scene, when picking anti-carries, there's only ever sort of one that's ever picked, to be honest. And Brewmaster hasn't really been picked very much. I think it might have been Sumail that's played him a lot more recently.
Alright.
I haven't
Yeah.
really seen him picked a lot, so it is good.
Yeah.
So it would be good to see him back in the meta because Brewmaster is actually a fun hero to play. He's very annoying to be up against though, especially if you're playing something like an Abaddon and you get like cycloned when you're ulting or something.
Yeah, was it like the TI 2 years ago was a wicked sick Brewmaster time, right?
Yeah, it was fun to watch though.
Yeah, so maybe these funny, cool gameplays will come back from the pros. Maybe this will help that the cooldown reduction overall helps them with their ultimate. Because, yeah, Brewmaster's ultimate is really powerful, right? This is his really primal thing to choose in awesome pro games. Alright. Interesting. So, Bristleback. Scepter was actually added. Let's check out the details. So, when Bristleback now equips again in Scepter, Nasal Goo is no longer targeted. Instead, it applies Goo to all enemies around you in a 600 AoE when casted. That's nasty. So he has his fucking spikes and Nasal Goo, and it stacks together, right? So this is a big change.
Yep. I actually was in a game when one of my friends bought Bristleback, Agnum, sorry, on Bristleback.
Yeah.
But I think he bought it a bit too early. I think it's a luxury item that you get once you're already quite.
If the game runs well, yeah.
Yeah, it gives you that gap closer so you can get your quell sprays more than one target, because obviously if you nasal glue one person, you're only reducing the gap with one person, but if you're doing it with multiple people, you're going to get those quells on a lot more people. So it's actually a nice change, makes them tankier, gives them stats in every attribute.
Also, in addition, that Nasal Goo mana cost was reduced, so you can even spam it more.
Yeah.
That's really nice to lock down enemies, right?
Yep, it's very good. Buffs Bristleback all around looking at it. Like,
that's actually a huge buff. Also, like Quill Spray max damage is increased. Like, together these two are really nasty.
Yep.
Nice. Then, next up we have Broodmother. There, the spawn Spiderlings damage got reduced from 75 to 300 to 70 to 280. I think that's good, because I was pretty annoyed about those fucking Spiderlings. What do you think?
Yeah, they're very annoying. Brood's a very situational pick where,
yeah.
Especially in the pro scene, a lot of pro players would last pick it, or some teams would even be very ballsy and maybe even second or third pick it. But it's generally picked if the enemy team haven't drafted or posed a threat to you being able to take those early towers, take over your jungle, and just be really annoying to your safe lane carry, to be honest. And I'm not surprised with the small nerf there, but I still think she'll be picked if pro players don't have a solution to stopping her, because it's a really, really strong hero for shutting down carry.
Yeah, she's a really, really strong hero if in the right hands, but on the other hand, it can be also devastating. But I think this balance overall, I think it's maybe only relevant for the, higher MMR range, right?
Yeah, I still think she's going to be a pub stomper, so sorry about that, guys.
Alright then, Centaur Warrunner. There, the return damage increased, actually. So, that's with...
it's just to make him a more viable offlaner.
Yeah.
Because he's very bad in the offlane at the moment. He hasn't got a safe way to CS. I mean, the only way you can really offlane him is getting maybe an armoring and a load of tangos, to be honest. Because it's very hard. There's a lot of aggressive supports now, and offlaning has actually got a lot harder this patch. Well, the last few patches, actually. So
actually,
that's why Centaur picks very often. That's the only reason. It's not because he's weak. It's because, it is. He's weak in lane, but he's still good in team fights.
I played him a lot in 6.83 and 6.84, but then with 6.85 in general, like overall, it was really bad to play Centaur. Unfortunately, I really like that hero as well. So let's see if that will make him valuable offlaner again. Then, it's amazing. This patch is really huge. So next up we have Chaos Knight. There, the Reality Rift bonus damage got increased from the 60 to 120 to 60 to 180, so the later levels got actually increased by 60 points. That's actually a lot.
It's a nice buff, because CK's not played a lot nowadays. Tends to not be a very well picked carry, but it's interesting to see, because I remember in Dota 1 he would be a roaming ganking hero. Now he's sort of a thought of as a very hard carry, but he doesn't have a farming mechanism still, and I think that's the real thing that's holding him back from being picked a lot. He doesn't have an innate farming mechanism, so. But it's a nice change.
Definitely, I really like Chaos, so maybe we see more of him with this patch, or at least it's more balanced that, like, in these really, really, really close fights he could still get an edge, right? Alright then, our favorite hero, Jen.
Well, Sniff will be happy with some of these changes. He's got a nicer base strength, which I suppose it's good for early game survivability. Not too relevant of a change though, to be honest. The mana cost for his penitence is reduced, which means it's going to have more sustain when roaming, which is very nice. And the duration of it is 8 consistently. So
that's also nice.
It's a very nice slow. You're going to be seeing maybe higher MMR brackets roaming Chens in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Because that slow is actually, another 3 seconds. It's quite a big change.
Totally.
So Sniff will be playing more Chen games by the looks of it.
Yeah, Chen is still a mystery hero for me, but I like watching other capable players play him.
Yeah, it's very hard to micromanage.
Yeah, very hard to micromanage. Then Klinks, there the agility growth increased from 3 to 3.3.
Yep, that's just gonna allow him. That's just gonna give him more armor every level, and it's also gonna increase his carrying capabilities, which is good because I feel unless Klinks doesn't have his strafe, his Q up, he's not very strong in team fights, and a lot of people tend to bait Klinks' Q out and then go hard afterwards. So it's nice to see that he's got a bit more to fall back on when he doesn't have it up.
Yeah,
so.
I think he's still a difficult hero, really. Like you need to be have a lot of map awareness, and maybe with the agility growth, you can also pick off easier your targets, right? Yeah,
it's knowing when to pick off and when to farm with him, really, because he does have a good farming mechanism with his ultimate, obviously, but
but still,
he doesn't farm very quickly or take towers without using up a lot of mana for a second. So.
Easy to learn, hard to master.
Yeah.
Then Clockwork, the community favorite. So strength growth increased from 2.7 to 2.9, and the power cogs now spawn in a circle rather than a rectangle.
That's a big buff to Clockwork.
That's a big buff, yeah.
The strength growth is actually really good. It's going to make him a lot more tankier. But the power cogs going in a circle, I've actually seen it. It's normally you'd have to aim the cogs. Say if an enemy was a certain distance, you'd have to have your hero at a weird angle to angle the corner of the cogs to drain their mana. But now if it's consistent and it's in a circle, it's a lot easier to aim them. So it's actually making playing him going to be a bit easier.
But for the choking points, will this be a downside or not? Maybe in the jungle or whatever. I don't think so, right?
No, I think it's good. You can still block people off and things like that, just the same as you could with the rectangle ones. I don't think it will take that long to get used to. To be honest. I think it's a good change.
Then next up we have Crystal Maiden. Actually, she was buffed and nerfed and buffed, and her mana increased and whatever. So I'm now really curious again. So what did they do now? Crystal Nova cooldown got reduced, and Arcane Aura level 4 mana regen increased. That sounds reasonable, I think.
Yeah, they're much needed buffs because Crystal Maiden is seen as a not very strong support. She might be at the lower MMR brackets, I'm not quite sure. But,
just overall mana gain, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ice Frog wants pros to pick purely because of the regen now.
Yeah.
So that's a lot better, obviously. So.
Yeah, I was a bit annoyed, especially since 6.82, there was always a back and forth with her, so I hope she gets in a more stable state now. Although this is not massive, but yeah, we will see.
You need movement speed on her. I think she'll be a lot stronger if you got the movement speed early, because you have to actually buy boots. If you random Crystal Maiden and buy boots and run, it's actually really strong. But
alright. Boy, we still have a lot of heroes to go. I don't know. Shall we continue like this? What do you think?
If we don't finish it today, we could always continue tomorrow. It's up to you.
Alright, yeah. So, next up we have Darkseer. There the base intelligence got reduced from 27 to 25, and Iron Shell is now purgeable.
Yeah, it's a big nerf to Darkseer. He's been picked in almost every program, especially in the Summit and the last major, obviously. And I don't know whether they actually nerfed him in the right areas. I guess they don't want his skill set to be too weak, but I'm not sure someone would go out of their way to purge an Iron Shell, because I really don't think a single Iron Shelled hero is that strong. The base intelligence is the bigger factor here. It means his mana pool is going to be a bit smaller.
So in the early game, probably, right? It will be make a difference. Yeah, because you can really push and annoy especially usually in offlane, right? So
he's good. Yeah, he's a good offlaner. He's good against melee carries.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can just Iron Shell all day long, and it's really annoying.
Be very annoying with the supports as well.
Yeah. Then there have been done a lot of changes to Dazzle. So first off, we have Poison Touch mana cost got reduced. Then the Shallow Grave cast point increased. Shallow Grave mana cost increased, and Weave no longer provides 800 flying vision. Now it provides ground vision for the AoE of the ability for 3 seconds. What do you make of that?
The poison touch mana cost reduction is obviously a buff, which is quite strange to see. But they've increased the cast point of Shallow Grave. They've increased the mana cost of Shallow Grave, which is good. But I don't think it's that massive of a change, if I'm quite honest with you. And the Wii flying vision, I didn't even know it did that, if I'm quite honest with you.
Yeah, actually I also didn't know that. That there's fucking flying vision on that thing. So
it's strange because I would have thought Dazzle would be nerfed quite a lot, because Dazzle seemed to be the biggest support, maybe him and Winter Wyvern.
Yeah.
Of the last patch, and it's very strange to not see him nerfed so much. But we'll see how that goes down. Maybe Dazzle was strong because he worked better with the heroes of last patch, as opposed to him being just a strong hero.
Yeah.
But see, I think to be honest, if they nerfed him hard, he would be unplayed. But we'll see. He might not be that strong.
Yeah.
It's hard to make of what he
actually, when I read these again, I actually don't know what to think. If this is now like it's like a really, really specialized, subtle balancing overall.
Yep.
Yeah. Then next up we have a lot of changes actually for Death Prophet, and therefore she was also temporarily removed from Captain's mode, and her Witchcraft is now replaced with a new ability called Spirit Siphon. And Spirit Siphon creates a spirit link between you and the target, draining 20 plus a percentage of XP depending on your level per second, and slowing movement speed by a specific percentage, and it lasts for 4 seconds. Then we also have her base movement speed increased, Crypt Swarm cooldown reduced, Silence cooldown reduced. This is like huge buffers to her, right? Exorcism spirit count increased, Exorcism spawn rate decreased. That's a lot of buffs here, right?
Death Prophet is extremely strong. The only problem I have that she may run into is, does she fare well against the current meta mid laners or not? That's the question. If she does, she's going to be really strong, because it looks like they've changed her to a hero that runs people down, drains their HP, slows them. Her base movement speed increase is huge, because when you go
in combination with Exorcism, right? This is huge.
Yeah, if you go race car build on her, she's going to be even quicker now, and she's just going to basically suck your life.
Totally.
But it depends how well she does in the mid lane. I'm not sure how good she's going to be.
Yeah.
But if she tends to be someone that's going to lane well in the early game, then I think she'll be strong. It'll be interesting to see what the pros do with her, because it would be good to see Death Prophet back in the meta. We haven't seen her in a long time.
So, do you have an idea why actually Ice Frog changed Witchcraft to this new ability?
It seems the Death Prophet skill set wasn't considered useful anymore.
Yeah.
That's probably why they made the change, see if people start picking her back up again. Yeah. And obviously they've removed her from Captain's mode because it's a massive rework. She could be OP.
Yeah.
So we don't want to run any tournaments with that. So.
Yeah, we should definitely watch overall win rates, pick rates, and all that, and see how it will develop. Yeah, and therefore it's obviously clear that she was removed from Captain's mode. Next up, the same for Doom. He was also temporarily removed from Captain's mode, and the reason is that also the level death was replaced with a new ability called Infernal Blade. And this new skill is actually a passive autocast attack ability. Mini stuns for 0.3 seconds and applies a 4-second burn that deals 40 plus a specific percentage of max HP as magic damage. And the mana cost is 40. In addition, the base attack time increased, and the Scorched Earth damage heal reduced, Scorched Earth movement speed decreased, and the cooldown for Doom was increased. So it's really a lot of balancing that has been performed here for Doom.
The decision to remove him from Captain's mode is good because of the recent change from him. I mean, I said before that Ray's one of the only picked anti-carries. I did actually forget about Doom. He's obviously the most well picked, actually. But it's weird because I've heard his third skill doesn't actually break Lincolns. So if that's true, Doom doesn't actually have a mechanism to 1 versus 1, if you will, a Lincoln's carry.
Yeah.
Such a Storm Spirit, because he can't pierce a Lincoln Sphere anymore. That's actually massive. But the skill itself It's much better than the level death, to be honest. But
yeah.
the because it doesn't pierce Lincolns, I think that's actually in a way a bit of a nerf. It's good. I think it's a good thing, but I don't know. I don't think Doom might not be as strong. I think he'll still be as strong in lane because even though they've nerfed the Scorched Earth and they've nerfed the movement speed and the even the Doom cooldown's increased, he's still going to be strong in lane. He's still going to get those early items with his Q.
What do you think about jungling with him now?
It's going to be a lot easier because you've got the new item, don't you? The Iron Talon.
Yeah,
which
we will
we'll
get to that
later.
yeah.
But jungling with him will be a bit easier. I still think you need an armor ring on him though.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him now because he's been nerfed a lot. But his vertical's actually better as well. So, but it doesn't piss Lincolns. So it's weird. It's a very weird change. It's a good decision to remove him from captain's mode, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Totally.
For the time being, anyway.
Then let's check how many heroes do we have left. We have so many left. Oh my god, we're only at Dragon Knight. It's amazing. Nearly every hero has been changed in some way.
Yeah, there's lots.
So, actually, let's think about it. Yeah, let's just continue like this. I think this is really interesting and informative. So, next up, Dragon Knight. There, the Dragon Blood HP regen was increased, and the Elder Dragon Form Frost AoE increased.
Very nice changes to Dragon Knight. It makes him a lot more sustainable in lane and in the late game. His AoE's a lot bigger. It's basically... The slow is basically kind of like a Scaddy, but now he's got a 300 AoE Scaddy. As opposed to a 250. It's a nice change. I hope Dragon Knight gets picked a lot more. But
yeah, I really like him. It's a cool hero.
People tend to think of him more as a tank as opposed to a carry. But I have seen him carry.
Yeah, he can carry super hard and take down towers in Elder Dragon form, like burn through the racks like nothing.
Yeah.
Alright, then Draw Ranger, actually there was only one change, that Scepter was added for her. And there the marksmanship now causes her attacks to splinter on the target and split into 2 arrows affecting 2 random units in a 375 radius. The splintered arrows deal 50% damage each, and the primary target still takes full damage. The split arrows act as normal attacks, carrying all attack modifiers.
I think this change is incredibly unnecessary, and I don't really think it will do a lot. I mean, if you've got something like a Magnus that can maybe set it up for you, you can do a bit of damage.
She's still shitty.
Yeah, you're paying for a 4200 item that's not good on a carry. To do something sort of that Medusa has, and it's a bit... It's weird. I still think Drow's a very weak carry since she got the nerf where her ultimate cancels if you go near her. It's very... I think it's within a 400 radius if you go near her. Which is a really, really bad nerf. But obviously Drow still is strong in lower MMRs because I'm not sure a lot of people know about that. And she kites people really well. If you're running away from a Drow Ranger, you're probably going to die. But
there's so many counters for Drow, right? So in low MMR, of course, she's a pop stomper, but otherwise she's super easy to counter. If you really just bash her hard, she's dead.
Yeah, a lot of people probably know that Ricky Mori is obviously a big counter to Drow Ranger because you can get right under her, cancel that ultimate, and you've got your own silence before she can silence you, and she's dead in like 3 hits. But there's a lot of counters to Drow Ranger.
Exactly.
In the higher brackets where people don't pick Ricky so much. But.
Yeah, let's don't waste time on her too much. Alright, then, very nice. Although I really have a hard time playing him, but Earth Spirit, he has been enabled in Captain's mode, and his intelligence growth got reduced from 2.4 to 2.1. The Balor Smash Stun AoE got reduced, and the Geomagnetic Grip can now only pull allied heroes when using Scepter.
Nerf, but they needed to happen if he was going to be in Captain's mode. The Geomagnetic Grip pulling an ally to save them in a pro game. That would be really, really, really stupid. So I'm glad that they've changed that for an Agman's upgrade. So yeah, it's good. It'd be nice to see him in Captain's mode, but I don't think he's going to be drafted.
Yeah, me neither.
It's that strong.
But
yeah.
Rather Ember or another hero.
Yeah.
Of the spirit hero pool, Storm or Ember. Then Elder Titan, the Earth Splitter damage got rescaled. The Earth Splitter mana cost got rescaled, and Earth Splitter's physical damage component is no longer reduced by damage block.
It's a lovely change to his ultimate, but I think to lane him, it's not his ultimate that needs to change, it's his other skill sets, because people don't play Elder Titan again because it's hard to lane him.
Exactly, yeah, he's a hard hero.
But obviously, you know, if you're just doing in lower and lower brackets, dual lane setups, it's fine. But it's nice to see the change because, again, Elder Titan's not been played very much.
Yeah.
So.
And then next up, I think that's really, really cool that they did this. I'm curious what you think, that actually for Ember Spirit, the Fire Remnants no longer give vision.
Yep, easier. It's much. People think that, oh wow, this is not a big change to Ember Spirit because he still does a lot of damage. But if you think about it, if you're running away from him and you can juke him, if he ulties while you're running and you're out of vision of him, he's not going to see you walk into a tree line or something, even though his remnant's there anymore. So actually getting away from Ember Spirit and him having that gap closing is actually quite a significant nerf, especially now that a lot of Ember Spirits get Blink Dagger as well.
Yeah, so exactly, yeah. I also think this is a great change, yeah.
Yeah.
Then Enchantress, there the enchant cooldown got reduced overall for the later levels. But it's very subtle. It's, for example, for the second level 25 to 24, for the third 20 to 18. I think that's a minor change, right?
Yeah, it's a very minor change. Yeah. She's been buffed due to item changes, which we'll go over later.
Exactly. 6.84, 6.85, so not much to do there. Then Enigma. Eidolon movement speed got increased. I hope I can pronounce this all correctly. The Malefice damage got increased, and the Black Hole cooldown got reduced.
Lovely changes. I'd love to see Enigma back in the meta. Everyone loves Enigma, so
of course.
His jungling. He's always going to be a quick jungler. So lane. You don't need to lane him. You can obviously jungle him, and he's sort of one of those junglers where it's not a very selfish pick. It is in the sense that the enemy supports are going to have a fun time messing up the rest of your lanes, but he still can provide a lot of good support to the mid lane and the side lanes. It's not like picking a Lifestealer or a Legion Commander jungle.
But in general, very nice buffs, right?
Very nice buffs. Very good to see.
Yeah, it will be fun. Then Faceless Void, again, also this hero has been temporarily removed from Captain's mode, and his backtrack was replaced with a new ability called Time Dilation. Dilation?
Yep.
I don't know. Dilation, right?
Yep.
Alright. It applies a debuff to all nearby enemies in a 650 area of effect for a specific amount of seconds depending on the level, and it causes time to be frozen on all enemy abilities, causing their cooldowns to make no progress while they have this debuff. It also slows movement and attack speed by a specific percentage for each locked ability.
That skill is actually pretty dumb, and it's very, very, very strong against very team fight orientated lineups.
Yeah, I just thought about that. This is massive.
I've not seen Void have a lot of success, but I'll go over that in a minute.
Yeah.
But the Time Walk is actually the bigger change, I feel, because they've basically given him a Weaver ultimate in his Q, where it reverts any damage you've taken in the last 2 seconds. Now, as strong as that is, and that really is a freaking strong skill, even though they removed backtrack for it, I still think you get from backtrack the amount that you actually backtrack and the HP you lose from it. I feel that with his new skill, you're actually gonna basically, if you had backtrack, you're not gonna oh shit, I can't explain this. We'll have to edit this out.
No, just go on. It's fine. Take your time.
Basically, with backtrack, if you were to backtrack a load of hits, you wouldn't backtrack them all. You'd backtrack a certain percentage. Whereas I feel with Time Walk, in the last 2 seconds, you're basically backtracking everything you last took in the last 2 seconds, which is actually a very, very strong thing. And Time Walk in itself is actually still... The skill as an escape and initiation is really bad. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's obviously been reduced to 550. If you're jumping away or jumping in, the range is tiny. It's even worse than a level 1 old Time Walk. So even though it's a Weaver ult, basically, it's a very bad initiation and escape tool. And I've heard from a lot of high and experienced players that people will probably start to build Blink Dagger on him because of it, which is mad. Which reduces his ability to carry, because a lot of people have to go Mask of Madness, BKB, Blink. You've only got Boots and 2 other item slots left, and maybe a Moonshard passive. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's a very weird changes to Void. He's one of the weirdest changes, but He's been removed from captain's mode because of the new skill, obviously.
Yeah, these time walk changes and this new ability is really, really massive. Actually, yeah. You're
Big
right.
changes. Huge changes. But yeah.
Yeah, let's see how this will unfold here. So
It'll
I'm
be
a bit
funny
skeptical.
seeing how you're gonna edit all of that crap.
yeah, we just go for it, I think.
Okay.
All right, then next up we have Gyrocopter. There, the cooldown's first missile damage got reduced. Very small change.
Yeah, it's a small change, but Gyrocopter's still going to be strong in the meta. He's just a strong hero. It's just going to give him less burst when killing people, really.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
other than that, not too big.
Then Huskar, another hero I hate. Berserker's blood bonuses are provided linearly from full until 10% of HP, rather than the stepwise at 7% increments. And Berserker's blood maximum magic resistance got reduced.
Basically, all you guys need to know from this is don't pick Huskar anymore.
Yeah,
he is
exactly.
Dead, completely and utterly dead.
That was his low HP killing blow, right? That is now totally nerfed.
Yeah, they have killed him.
Yeah,
he's no longer not that strong versus magic teams, where if people picked a lot of a magic orientated lineup with not a lot of physical damage, it's a perfect Huskar game.
Yeah.
But now it's still potentially quite bad. So Huskar is basically a dead hero. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with him. I don't think he's going to be picked anymore.
Yeah. Then our beloved Invoker. Invoker now starts with Invoke level 1 at the beginning of the game. Invoke now has the standard 6, 11 and 16 leveling, and level 25 Invoker, since he is now missing an ability level, has an attribute bonus ability that grants 6 all stats. Very interesting change.
Good changes. Invoker level 1 is really good. It's going to be easier for Invoker to contest runes as well. He's either going to have level 1 Sunstrike, or he's going to have
level that's 1. Nice, right.
Yeah, or level 1 Cold Snap, which is even better. If you're at the rune and you Cold Snap someone and you've got 3, 4 or 5 other people hitting you, you're dead.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, you can also get EMP, but that's not very strong early on. But that's a big change. It's also going to give him the Forge Spirits a lot earlier in lane, which obviously reduce armor, do a lot of damage. So if you're playing Exort Invoker, it's actually very, very strong.
Yeah.
I think it's more of an Exort Invoker buff having Invoker level 1 because of that reason.
I like it. I really like it. Yeah, it's cool.
And another big change is obviously because you got Invoke so early at level 25, you're going to get an extra attribute ability. Because he already had one missing one and now he's got 2. So even more stats is a big Invoker buff, and it's good to see because Invoker's a good hero. So it's good.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Then next up we have Jakiro. There, a very simple change where his base damage got increased.
That's pretty big. If you're playing a support and you're zoning an offlane or even ganking, a 7 base damage increase is pretty big.
That's big, yeah, that's totally big, yeah. He's now really viable for harassment overall in early game.
Coupled with liquid fire.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
Like the
very, very massive. It's good. Yeah, I think there's nothing more to say to that. Only that Jakiro is now very strong. Then we have Keeper of the Light. Their Chakra Magic cooldown reduction got increased. The Chakra Magic buff duration got increased. And Chakra Magic now restores and increases mana capacity by 75, 150, 225 to 300.
It's actually good. I saw a Kotl Zeus duel offlane and I thought, what in the world is this? And then as soon as I realised that the Zeus was just going to arc lightning constantly, which is obviously going to harass me.
Yeah,
he's going to get every last hit. I can't possibly deny it because it's like 75 damage. You'd have to be playing like a Treant Protector or something.
Crazy, yeah.
And Keeper of the Light would just increase his mana capacity and give him the mana back. So this Zeus would just consistently arc lightning. They were very annoying in lane. You'd have, obviously you can take out the Observer Ward with his second.
Yeah.
So we couldn't control them in lane. It was really, really dumb. But it was interesting to see because I've never seen that before. But yeah, Kotl PL might be good. I'm not sure what they've done to PL yet, but we'll see.
So overall, with a capable carry, this is a very annoying buff for a Keeper of the Light.
Yeah, it's a good
in safe lane, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or even in the offlane with a intel hero.
Yeah. Next up we have Kanka. There also Scepter has been added, and it has been added for Ghost Ship, which now drags enemies within a 200 AoE of it towards. Ghost Ship now drags enemies within a 200 AoE of it towards the crash site, and it now starts from where you are rather than behind you. Lands in the same position it normally would have. Enemies are still able to perform actions while being pulled by the Ghost Ship. So it works similar to Drow Ranger's Gust Knockback. Is also here added as an info.
I've played Kunkka. As soon as the patch notes came up, one of the first heroes I played was Kunkka off lane, and I built an Ags on him.
Yeah.
And it is so good. We were against a Spirit Breaker, and he was charging our team, and
so you could just constantly cancel it out, right?
Yeah. Pulled them all in, and he got bowed. And it was a really good initiation to the team fight, actually, because we had a Magnus as well.
Cool.
And he just RP'd them and pulled them back in. It was really, really cool. But yeah.
Then what do we have? There's a lot of additional changes. Also, Torrent now gives your team vision over target area immediately upon cast, rather than just when triggering.
Very nice change.
This is very nice, yeah, totally. Tidebringer is now an auto cast ability, will only trigger if turned on or cast directly on the target. This is also very nice, I think, right?
Yep.
Then it got also increased, the overall damage bonus. The AoE got rescaled. Yeah, so together this is a nice balancing of Tidebringer ability.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ghost Ship mana cost got reduced, which is also really nice. Wow.
What they've basically implied here is because they've added an Ags, and more importantly, Tidebringer's toggleable, offlane Kunkka's a lot more viable, because people wouldn't play it because Tidebringer would naturally push the wave out, because you're cleaving the wave every hit.
Exactly, that was always a problem, yeah.
And you can now toggle it. It won't push the wave out anymore. So offlane Kunkka is better. Obviously, it's still hard to CS in a lane because it's not good against zoning sports. But
it's nice, yeah.
And even Torrent, that change is good. It's very good for chasing people. It gives you vision. Even if it doesn't land, you know where the enemy's gone. And the cast range of it's huge. So it's actually very good.
Nice.
Good changes to Kunkka. I really like it.
Yeah, I like this as well. Really cool. Then next up we have Legion Commander. There the Moment of Courage cooldown got reduced, and Legion Commander's Scepter now makes you and your target immune to all damage unless the source is between the duel participants. I think this is very nice. And this was super annoying. I remember that as well. And Legion Commander's Scepter duration is now also changed.
It's good. Obviously, again, if the enemy team have something like a Dazzle, or even a Bane, or whatever would normally stop Legion commanders from getting their duel wins, they're still going to apply it. It doesn't make you guys invulnerable, basically. You can still lose duels. You can still have your duels interrupted, because they still do have the duration on it. But if it's a pure... if you're in a team fight, and a lot of if you've basically BKB'd in a team fight and there's no Dazzle, you're going to probably win the duel.
Yeah.
Because it makes you and your target immune.
But it
basically
sounds
build a blade mail.
Yeah, it sounds totally reasonable, I think, because it's much better than before. Then next up is Lifestealer. There the rage attack speed bonus got increased, the feast damage and lifesteal got increased, and infest cooldown got reduced. A lot of buffs for him, right?
Yeah, Lifesteal has actually been a very weak carry recently, so I'm not surprised with the buffs. I'm very surprised that they didn't increase the range of his E. I know they nerfed that before, and they might not have changed it back. But that was what made Lifestealer quite strong, and he still hasn't got that. They've increased the rage attack speed early on, which is good. The lifesteal and the feast damage itself is obviously really good, and they keep buffing Infest. Like, it seems that they're trying to make Infest like the key ability of Lifestealer.
Yeah, totally.
Like, but yeah, he's going to be a stronger jungler, but I don't particularly like Cause being in the jungle or weakened your lanes.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he'll be picked again so much in the pro scene still, but obviously he's still a nice hero to play if they pick a lot of strength heroes still. But yeah, he still gets kited easily, basically.
Yeah. Then actually I played a lot of lines, so here I'm really curious that actually the Earth Spike mana cost got reduced. This is very nice. The Earth Spike duration got increased, and mana drain cooldown got reduced. These are very nice buffs for him.
Yeah, very nice early on changes for Lion. It'd be good to see roaming Lions again in the pro scene, and
yeah, it's just awesome. He's just such a versatile hero. I love it. That's really cool. Very nice changes. Thanks, Ice Frog. Then, also Lone Druid got temporarily removed from Captain's mode. And that's because Synergy got replaced with the so-called Savage Roar. And Savage Roar causes enemies in a 325 AoE around you or your bear to run away with 20% movement speed bonus for a specific time. And there's a note that the entangled hero will not be able to move still. Spirit Bear also has this ability, but the cooldown is shared with your hero. Then in addition we have that the Spirit Bear attack damage got increased, Spirit Bear movement speed got increased, the rabbit duration got increased, the rabbit movement speed got increased, and true form health bonus got increased. Huge changes. This is crazy.
Rabbit's insanely good. So it looks like Admiral Bulldog got his wishes, to be honest.
yeah, totally.
The health bonus is very good. Very good, actually. The bear does so much damage now. That rescale is huge. Eventually up to 65 from 35.
Yeah.
That is insane.
That's huge.
The anti-taunt is good as well. If people are focusing your bear or your hero, you can just say bye-bye and they'll start running away. That's really strong because you don't just have it on one, you've got it on both. So that Lone Druid, that's very nice pass, very strong. We might see him played a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Admiral Bulldog will probably stream and play him all the time now.
Yeah, we should check that out.
Good.
Totally. Yeah, this is amazing.
Massive changes.
Yeah, massive. Then Luna, there seems to be not such big changes. Actually, that the turn rate got increased. I think that's nice. And Eclipse Scepter Beam interval got reduced.
That's massive. The interval's half now, so the beams are just going to keep going.
That's
They're going to hit
huge
you a
buff.
lot quicker,
Yeah.
so don't make the mistake of 1v1ing a Luna with no with no BKB.
That's crazy. That's a
no
huge
creeps.
buff. That is like burning you into the ground with her fucking Eclipse Scepter. Holy Christ.
She's still not a strong carry, but that burst is actually quite a big change for team fights. But we'll see how that fares out. I still don't think she'll be picked in the pro scene, but
yeah, it's interesting for pubs, right? So
good for pubs, definitely.
Yeah. Then Lycan, there his wolves and shapeshift no longer grant critical strike. Oh, okay, that's massive. Lycan wolves now gain cripple at level 2, granting a 20% chance to cripple the target, causing it to take 8 damage per second and lose 40 attack speed for 4 seconds. And shapeshift now grants all units under your control a 40% chance for a specific critical strike multiplier.
Nice buffs to Lycan. They make him a stronger fighter. They actually, the cripple on the target's good. If you basically in a team fight, what you want to do, you want to micro your wolves to attack a carry so they lose that attack speed.
No.
It's only 20% obviously, but it's per attack, I assume.
That's really nice, especially that 40 attack speed is massive for team fights. So
like
he will not do this red dodo shit, just taking towers. That's
he still might, but he's better at fighting as well. So I think they've given Lycan the option where he can do both now.
He's really valuable now for fighting. Yeah, just really target those fast attackers. It's much better. Yeah. Then also Scepter has been added to Magnus. There it changes in power to be an allied hero aura. It affects ranged heroes for half cleave values and causes them to deal splash damage around the target in a 200 AoE. And it can still be cast on units but does not stack. Also Skewer got massively changed here.
I think that the Agnum's change could be legit. People only pick Magnus in the pro scene. Obviously, the RP and Stu is good, but a lot of it is only if the Empower works on a carry very well. So, I think putting it on things like Juggernaut and things like that works extremely well. This change might be very, very, very good for team fighting, but we'll see. I think it looks legit. But there's a lot of Agnum's changes that have been put on that.
It's actually a bit confusing.
Actually aren't that good.
Massive. It's a totally different Dota now. Holy Christ.
They've nerfed the skewer though, the slow anyway.
Yeah.
But
distance got increased, but the slow got reduced and the duration got increased.
Yeah.
It's kind of
if they're going to do those other two changes, then I guess they kind of do have to reduce the slow. levels, it makes sense. But Magnus, I'd say, is a bit stronger now, which is nice to see. Nice team fighting hero. Nice hero to see in the mid lane occasionally as well.
So what do we have for Medusa? There the Mystic Snake no longer increases mana steal per jump, and Mystic Snake mana steal is now a specific percentage per level of total mana.
That's quite nice. 20% of total mana at max level is actually quite nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, changing Mystic Snake is not going to change whether people pick Medusa as a final carry or not. But change nonetheless.
Yeah. And then Meepo, look at that. The double damage no longer affects all Meepo units. I think that's nice.
that's a fairly big change actually.
Yeah.
A DD totally. Meepo means, right boys, we're taking the tower.
Yeah. And now this is no longer available. Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I think that shouldn't have been applied anyway, because adding double damage to each Meepo,
that's totally
very strong. That's a lot of right click damage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good change.
Then Mirana, she's also very popular, right? And there the attack range got increased, the Starstorm radius got increased, and the Sacred Arrow now instantly kills the first unit it hits if it's a non-ancient creep. Oh la la.
I have played 6.86 Mirana, and you can jungle her, and this is what I did, so I'm a bit in saying that don't do it. But you can actually, there's a way that you can farm the Ancients with her by leaping on top of the ward spot and camp next to the secret shop, and you can just stack Ancients and take them, and you get like level 6 at 6 minutes, which is still pretty good. That's almost like a mid laner.
Yeah, that's something we haven't mentioned yet. Like also the whole map got redesigned and new camps got added.
Yeah.
So
but don't do that, guys, because no one likes jungle Mirana in a game. It's very bad, but yeah, I tested it and it does work, and we did win the game, but that's not the point. It's nice. They're nice changes to Mirana. Attack range is obviously very good. The Starstorm range is bigger. It's going to help her farm. It's going to do a lot more in a team fight.
Yeah.
And obviously the Sacred Arrow. I mean, if you're walking past a jungle camp or something, maybe in the enemy jungle or someone, or even your own, just arrow. Yeah. Free creep.
Yeah.
Not bad. Or if you miss an arrow on the mid lane, you get a free CS. But try and land it. But yeah, it'd be nice to see Mirana. It's interesting because a lot of people play her as a core, a lot of people play her as a support roamer sort of hero.
Exactly, yeah. Just waiting for a nice arrow hit and then get kills. That's what I usually see her as.
Yep.
Her role. Then Morphling, there has also been some pretty interesting changes. For example, Adaptive Strike base damage got increased. Adaptive Strike mana cost got reduced. Morph rate got increased. And Morph now shifts in intervals of 1 rather than 2, and hybrid cooldown got reduced from 140 to 120.
I'm not surprised they buffed the adaptive strike because it's been nerfed in recent patches. It's now a projectile as opposed to an instant cast, which makes shotgun morphling, which is where you go E-blade.
Okay.
You then E-blade the target, adaptive strike them, and it does damage based on your agility. That was really strong, but because it's projectile now, it's not as good, but still viable.
Yeah.
Because they've increased the base damage to 100 at all levels. That's a good nuke, especially early on. The morph rate change, let's see what they've done there. So it's actually increased per second.
Yes, okay, the intervals got increased,
You can morph more, the shift intervals of 1 rather than 2. So it means... Oh, okay, it makes it smoother. See, what I first thought I did is it would make the morphing actually slower, but it doesn't.
No, you can more quickly shift between the different forms.
Yeah, it just looks smoother. That's nice, I like that.
Yeah.
And the hybrid cooldown reduced, so they've nerfed the ultimate, because a lot of people have done some weird things with the morphling hybrid, but yeah. Standard changes. To be honest, if I were to guess what they do to morphling, I would say that they should have made his nuke better.
Yeah.
And changed the ultimate a bit, and they've done that. So.
Alright. And for Siren, there the base intelligence got increased from 18 plus 1.95 to 21 plus 2.
That's good because Naga obviously uses Manta summons a lot, needs mana. Gonna constantly cast her illusions.
Yeah, exactly.
So she needs a mana pool.
She needs that, yeah. makes total
and
sense.
obviously her nuke for
Yeah.
farm with. So increasing her intelligence actually basically buffed her farming mechanism, which is nice to see. Good change.
And when I look here at Nature's Prophet, that's also pretty interesting because his base intelligence got increased and the treant damage got increased from 28 to 32. And this also means that greater treant damage is increased from 84 to 96.
Buffing the junglers, basically.
Yeah.
Base intelligence increase means he's going to have higher base intelligence, sorry. Being increased is going to give him higher base damage.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to farm.
Yeah, easier farming, yeah.
And same with the treants, and treants are obviously going to split push a bit harder, so that's good.
Also, Bulldong will approve this.
Oh, and obviously the greater treants, it says here, have also been increased from 84 to 96, so even the greater treants.
Yeah, exactly. So even they got buffed, yeah.
Yeah.
And Necrophos, there the base armor got increased by 1.
Not big, not that massive a change.
Yeah.
It might mean that you might skip buying an armor ring early on, which is what I do on Necro, if you go off lane or even safe lane or mid.
Yeah.
So, you might want to opt out on buying 200 gold ring, how much it is. But,
yeah, right, yeah, it's really the ring that you could save. Yeah.
I think they nerfed that ring anyway, from 3 armor to 2. But
yeah, Jesus, we haven't even touched the items yet. I think we will do that in the next video.
yeah.
Let's today just talk about the heroes. But I think this is already very informative, pretty cool. Then next up we have Night Stalker. There the void slow at night got reduced from 4 to a scaling depending on the level, which is 2.5, 3, 3.5 and 4 seconds.
Good change, bit of a nerf. I think it's a good change because Night Stalker at night was actually, it's mainly in pubs, really stupidly long. You'd be silenced for so long and slowed for so long. There's no way you can escape him because his void's like a mini stun.
Yeah.
You can't TP either. So yeah, it's an alright change. It'll be harder to maneuver around and kill people as Night Stalker because of that, but
yeah, that was pretty imba, so I like that it's not like super imba in the beginning. It's better scaled over time, over the game, because in early game that was really tough.
Yeah, it was. It seems Ice Frog wants him to be more of like a support hero that carries Agnem's gem, as opposed to like someone carrying like a basher going around wrecking people all game.
Or at least farm up early and only later get into the roaming role. I think that makes sense. Alright guys, as you have seen, this patch is massive, so we will actually split up this video which is covering the heroes into 2, and then we will additionally also make a video where we only talk about the items and the map. So I think this is a good point to stop for now. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video. We hope you liked this video. Also a thumbs up for Rain for this very informative analysis. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys next time.